Welcome to Mirror World News. My name is Adam, and today we are going to be focusing on the 5 common mistakes that authors make when submitting to publishers. Don't go away. Welcome back. Today I am joined with the publisher from Mirror World Publishing, Justine Dowsett, and she is going to help explain the 5 common mistakes that authors make when submitting to publishing companies. Now we're going to be going through this list in reverse order, so we're going to start with number 5. So number 5 is submitting the wrong genre. Now Justine, why is that important?
Publishers have a niche market, so generally there are types of books that they're looking for and types of books that they're not looking for. It's best to make sure that your book fits with the books that the publisher is already specialized in, because that's the market they have access to. They're usually going to let you know what that is in their submission guidelines, but you can also go and check out their current list of titles to see what kind of books they already have published to make sure that yours is going to be a good fit. If you submit the wrong genre to a publisher, they're going to look at it and go, well, we can't really market this, there's not much we can do with it, so it's more likely to get rejected.
Yeah. So if someone sees a genre that's completely different from them, say for example if they're a comedy, and you send them a gore-filled horror novel, they're going to look at it and say, though it may be good, they're going to say this isn't really something that we want to produce.
What's
or
very
that we...
funny?
Unless it's a comedy gore-filled horror movie or horror script or horror book or novel or whatever they publish.
Yeah.
So you would definitely want to make sure to send the right thing to them. That way they don't just throw it away. You don't want to miss out on the first read just because it's the wrong genre.
Right. You'd be surprised how many people do this. We get a lot of contemporary romance or Christian fiction or even non-fiction, and that's not at all what we publish.
Right. So you definitely don't want to send a World War II documentary style, life and time bibliography to a sci-fi fantasy publishing house. They just won't do it, even though it might be amazing.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And this will bring us to point number 4, the 4th common mistake they usually do, which is omitting important details. What does that mean?
Well, when you send your manuscript in, they're looking for usually a query letter and a synopsis that tells them a bit about the book. Now, if you omit the detail of what your genre is, first of all, how long your book is, who the characters are, maybe, they're not really going to be able to figure out what's going on in that book, and they're also not going to be able to figure out if that book is for them right away. So the more that you make a publisher guess about what the details are in your book, the less likely they are to want to pick it out, just because there's a lot more work involved, a lot more guesswork. And they can't determine if they can market that book right away.
Yeah. Always keep in mind too, your publisher is not your audience. They're not the kind of person that you're trying to fool with your trick ending or anything like that. You want to make sure that they know everything there is to know about your book right up front. That way they know exactly what they're getting themselves into. Otherwise, if they have to guess...
Yeah, exactly. They don't want to have to spend the time to ask you all of these questions one by one. Like, oh, well, how long is your book? Is it a novella? Is it a novel? Well, what's your target audience? Is it for young kids? Is it for adults? It's just they want that information given to them in the query letter right up front.
Yeah, so definitely make sure to fill out all the information that they're going to need right out front. That way they don't have any guesswork. Because the more guesswork they have, the more likely that gets pulled over and tossed away. Right. All right, so we're going to move on to point number 3, which is leaving out key plot points, which is something I kind of sort of touched on in the last one. But do you want to expand on that one?
So this is mostly referring to your synopsis. We've stated in our other video, what's in your submission package, that synopsises must contain the ending to your novel. We don't want to see a teaser that just says, pick up the rest of the book to learn the ending. We want to know how it ends, and that's basically to show us that you can build a plot arc and that it all ends and wraps up satisfactorily at the end of the book.
Right, yeah. So you definitely want to remember that if you have a twist ending or if you have a character that shows up halfway through that is important to your story, definitely make sure to mention that in your synopsis. Otherwise, when they finally get to it, they're not going to want to. Yeah, they're not going to want to publish it because they don't know that you can finish the story.
Right. And they also don't know that that story wraps up satisfactorily. They've also, other things you could leave out is character names or the setting or different things like that. It goes back to not omitting those key points. You got to make sure that your synopsis and your query covers everything satisfactorily.
And that'll bring us to, I think this is point number 2, which is failing to hook the reader.
So you've got three main chances to do this. You've got your query letter, which should have something in there that really distills what makes your book engaging. So if you can take your concept for your book or what makes your book special and really distill it down to one sentence that's going to grab somebody's attention, that's your best bet. So we talked about that, as we've already covered a lot of these things. What's in your submission package again. You also have the synopsis, which should be an engaging kind of play-by-play that tells you what's going to happen in that book. You're still telling a story in your synopsis, so it should be interesting and fun to read. And then you have your sample chapters. They should be strongly written. That opening line should really pack a punch, and then drag the reader in and make them want to keep reading. And the way to do this is basically by having the reader ask questions and want to know more about your story as they read.
Right. And it definitely gives all publishers a look into your writing style as well. So if they can see that you're really good at drawing in an audience, they know they're going to have an easy time marketing that book.
Right.
And the easier time to market a book, the more likely it is to get published.
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And this brings us to number one. The number one mistake, well, common mistake that authors make when submitting to a publisher is ignoring the submission guidelines. And this should be very, very straightforward, but unfortunately a lot of new authors just miss this point because they've always been told, you know, submit it anyway. There's always the chance that they'll take it. And what's your comment to that?
The submission guidelines are there for a reason. It's the easiest part of your job is to just follow the instructions and send the publisher what they want to see. Yes, you can make your submission still very interesting within the parameters that they've given you, but definitely follow their guidelines. It's going to make them a little more positive towards your submission in general.
Yeah. And the old mentality, again, as sending your submission out to as many possible publishing companies as possible, that's good, but if they don't match your genre, they are not going to accept you.
Right.
So what you need to do is do more research and find out how many of the publishing companies out there match what you're trying to give them and send it to all of them.
Yeah, and also custom tailor your submission each time to follow those submission guidelines individually, because different publishers are looking for different things and they look at them maybe in different ways or they have different processes that they go through.
Yeah, everybody likes getting a personalized letter, not a copy letter from, you know.
That's bonus points right off the bat.
Awesome. So those are the 5 common mistakes that authors make when submitting. Now, please make sure to like and subscribe to this video and to this channel. We're going to be bringing you lots more advice for aspiring authors or authors that have already made it and just need a little bit more. So we're going to be coming back in the studio with Justine. We're also going to be having other authors do interviews. It's 2016, brand new season, brand new year, and we're definitely looking forward to bringing it to you. So thank you very much all for listening. Have yourselves a wonderful day.
Thank you, Adam. Also, if you have any suggestions for videos you'd like us to cover or topics that you're interested in us discussing, please leave them in the comments below. We'll be sure to get to them.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a great day.